Happy New Year and welcome to the January 2026 edition of Business and Policy News, brought to you by the Farm Advisory Service. This newsletter helps you to scan your horizons, prepare for industry changes, and keeps you abreast of the latest research and policy updates. Along with our regular monthly updates on policy, arable, beef, sheep and milk, in this edition we will also be looking at geopolitics and global agricultural trends. Hello. My name is Christine Beaton and I am the editor of this publication. First up, we have this month's news. As we move into 2026, while generally UK agriculture is a resilient industry with all that is thrown at it from extremes of weather, changes in legislation and fighting for its place on the global stage, it is a sobering thought to read that the Farm Profitability Review, led by the former National Farmer Union President Minette Batters, found that nearly a third of farms in Great Britain were loss-making last year, with many unable to generate enough income from food production to support a household. With journalistic links being made to constant shifts in UK government policy, including the swift removal of agricultural support schemes weighing in on real farm incomes. Closer to home, the 2026-2027 Scottish Budget will be revealed on the 13th of January. It is not yet known if the Scottish Government will follow the UK Government in terms of increasing tax on property income by 2%. This could impact on the rental market if investors choose to sell due to falling margins. From an agricultural perspective, NFU Scotland are looking for ministers to honour their commitment that at least 70% of agricultural and rural economy (ARE) funding will be allocated as direct support during the agricultural transition years of 2025-26 and 2026-27, in addition to which NFU Scotland's budget submission calls for a £90 million uplift to the ARE budget, multi-year funding certainty, ring-fencing to prevent dilution of agricultural spending and full delivery of the £26 million Future Farming Investment Scheme. Before we move on to what is in this month's edition of Business and Policy News, on a lighter note, if you think that your farm dog could do more to earn its keep, a farm in Jefferson, Vermont offers a happy hour, where dog lovers can book an hour to spend time with their farm dogs. With word spreading online, bookings fill up fast. Who knows, rounding up people could be more lucrative than rounding up sheep. In this month's edition of Business and Policy News, our arable, beef, sheep, dairy and policy articles reflect on the key events that shape 2025 and look ahead to what might be in store for 2026. And in our specialist article, I look at how geopolitics now outrank the simple economics of supply and demand and what global trends are expected to influence UK agriculture over the coming year. Let's take a look at this month's policy briefs. We begin with a look back at 2025. At the start of the year, following Storm Babette, the Scottish Government announced that a National Flood Advisory Service would be established to improve Scotland's flood resilience and to embed best practice on a nationwide scale. Key actions for the service included support for smaller flood protection schemes and property-level flood resilience. The Scottish Government also announced that a new housing planning hub would be operational in 2025, with the aim of being to increase the rate at which homes that require planning permission are delivered. The hub will tackle reasons for delay, including lengthy negotiations in relation to Section 75 agreements. In February, as part of the Scottish Government's Strategic Framework for Biodiversity, the Natural Environment Scotland Bill was introduced and is now currently at Stage 3 in the parliamentary process. The bill places a duty on ministers to set legally binding nature restoration targets and is aimed at modernising how national parks and deer are managed, with measures to protect biodiversity loss and to reduce harmful carbon emissions. March saw the introduction of the Future Farming Investment Scheme, which was aimed at offering flexible capital grants to support investments in efficiency, nature and climate-friendly farming. The initial budget of £14 million was increased to £21.4 million after the Scottish Government received a total of 7,584 applications when the scheme closed on the 22nd of August. In May, The Health and Safety Executive, HSE, announced that they were extending the approval of the use of glyphosate until the 15th of December 2026 to allow them time to assess whether glyphosate continues to meet the approval criteria for an active substance in Great Britain, following a supporting dossier submitted by the Glyphosate Renewal Group. May also saw the launch of the Next Generation Practical Training Fund, with a budget of at least £300,000 per annum. The fund has been designed to aid more new entrants and young farmers to get practical training to help launch their agricultural careers. The fund will remain open until March 2027. June 2025 saw the launch of the Peatland Training Fund, which aims to provide financial support to over 16s living in Scotland who are looking to develop skills to support their peatland career and to support people already working in peatland restoration who want to enhance their skills through additional training. In general, 50% funding is available up to a maximum of £1,000 per application through Skills Hub Scotland. In July, the Office for National Statistics announced that a record number of farms had been forced to close over the past year. The 6,365 agricultural, forestry and fishing businesses recorded marks the highest number of closures since records began in 2017. November saw the introduction of new regulations for applying waste to land. From the 1st of November 2025, under the Environmental Authorisation Scotland Regulations, ESSR 2018, new regulations apply to anyone using waste, like treated sewage sludge, to improve soils. Anyone that carries out the application of waste to land for the purpose of soil improvement activities will have to apply for a new ESSR authorisation through SEPA. In December, the UK budget announced a small concession to the controversial changes to inheritance tax announced in 2024, with the announcement that the £1 million allowance for the 100% rate in relation to agricultural property relief and business property relief will now be transferable between spouses and civil partners, meaning that on the death of the first person, the £1 million allowance can be transferred to the surviving person.
Since recording business and policy news, the following change was announced. On the 23rd of December 2025, following significant lobbying by farmers, the UK government announced that they will introduce an amendment to the Finance Bill 2025 to increase the threshold at which 100% agricultural property relief and business property relief applies from 1 million to 2.5 million per estate, with 50% relief continuing to apply to qualifying assets above that level. This will allow spouses or civil partners to pass on up to £5 million in qualifying agricultural or business assets between them before paying inheritance